Alright, 3, 2, 1, grab! Grab! Yeah, boy!
Hey team, we chucked up a post the other day on both our social channels asking for some questions for Matt. Thanks to everyone that has commented. We have a heap come through, which is awesome. We'll be announcing the winners of our spot prizes at the end of this video, so stick around to see if you've won. Hey team, I'm here with Mr. Matt Wells, the absolute legend behind Nomadic Kayak Fishing. His YouTube channel has clocked up over 5.5 million views and over 70,000 followers on social media, whether he's chasing big snapper or big kingies from his kayak, living the van life or just seeing the beautiful scenery New Zealand has. Just makes some absolute epic content and has some incredible footage to follow along. So Matt, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what made you decide to live this epic lifestyle.
Yeah, I grew up far north New Zealand, pretty much the best place you could grow up. Living around the water, we grew up right on the beach, right on the waterfront. Family was always into fishing, and I guess the whole fishing thing was kind of ingrained into me from a young age. And then as I got older, I got more intense and sort of grew up in the era where YouTube had just sort of come into the realm.
Yeah, sweet.
My dad was ex-commercial fisherman, so we grew up hand lines and no rods, no reels, just basic fishing. But as social media and television came onto the scene, I was watching the likes of Big Angry Fish,
Yeah.
Matt Watson, all of those guys, and just seeing what was coming onto the market, like with the development in fishing, and man, I was hooked. It was from the moment I watched. It was probably one of Milan's early videos of him dragging a kingy on board.
Yeah.
The moment I saw that video on television, it was a downhill spiral. Like everything in my life started revolving around fishing. It was like, what can I afford with my pocket money? How can I buy this rod? How can I get that lure? How am I going to catch this fish? And yeah, from there, the kayak was sort of the easiest way into it.
For sure.
I'd fished off boats before, fished off charter boats, mates' boats, parents' boats.
Yep.
Caught some good fish, but I remember the first fish that I caught from the kayak, it was probably like a 30 centimeter kahawai.
Yep.
But that fish to me meant more than anything I'd ever caught from boats, be it a 10-pound snapper. That 30 centimeter kahawai that towed me around the bay, man, I was hooked.
And what was that? What was the first kayak? We need to know.
The first kayak would have been a 2.8 meter, I think the 2.8 meter ocean kayak Frenzy.
Yeah.
We used to call it the banana boat. It's bright yellow and rocker bow to stern.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. There's obviously, a bit of planning involved with your trips. Is it a case of, you just look at the forecast and like, where's the weather going to be good? Or have you got places that that are going to be good at certain times of the year and you want to try and get there for then? Or what's your missions around there?
So with trip planning, I try and stay as flexible as I possibly can. Obviously you do have those areas, okay, this area is going to fish well this time of year.
Yeah.
But I try not to get too caught up on that. Like if
Sweet.
the weather's not going to be good in that area, I'm happy to go, hey, the weather's good over here. The fishing might not be as good, but
yeah,
make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always a bit of a downer, you try and focus in on one area and then all of a sudden the weather turns rubbish and you're like, oh, I can't actually fish there anymore. So yeah, having that bit of freedom is awesome.
Yeah, just keeping an open mind, and
yeah,
you never know what's going to happen with fishing. It could actually go crazy at the other spot.
Yeah, perfect. And so obviously kayak fishing, your main form there. What are your 3 top tips for someone to looking to get into kayak fishing for the very first time?
So I don't know if they're tips or more so advice, but
yeah.
The first thing is when you're learning to get into kayak fishing, you want to start small, not necessarily small fish, but
yeah,
with your trip, start small. So don't think that you're going to paddle 10 kilometers to a spot the first time you've ever fished from a kayak.
Yeah.
I think that can put people off.
100%. It'd be bloody tiring as well.
Yeah, well, if you go balls to the wall straight off the bat,
yeah,
in anything, you get a bit overwhelmed and you can put yourself off. Like if you start to get into running and you think, oh, I'm going to enjoy running, and you try and run a 10K the first day,
yeah,
you're going to hate it.
100%.
Yeah. So yeah, first tip would be just keep it small, start easy. I think getting a bit of comfort in a kayak, like getting used to a kayak before you start fishing off it,
Yep.
probably a good idea. Like whether that would be just buying a kayak and having some fun in it.
Yep. I mean,
Yeah.
days like today,
Yeah, exactly.
it'd be an absolute glamour, you know, like we've just got a ripper of a forecast, it's nice and flat, just getting out there, I guess, and giving it a go.
I mean, half the fun of kayak fishing is the scenery you get to see.
For
So
sure.
if you can get out in a kayak without a fishing rod, get real comfortable with the boat, get your confidence up, then start thinking about fishing from it, I think that transition will be much smoother and much more enjoyable.
Yep, 100%. Right, I mean, speaking of kayaks, we've got this absolute beast sitting next to us here. I reckon we get up and have a bit of a look through and maybe just show us how you organise your gear.
Yeah,
What do you
mate?
reckon? Is that all good?
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah.
Sweet. So, I mean, obviously this is a bit of a beast of a Viking. Let's have a bit of a run through, mate. Like, what's the go? There's bits and pieces everywhere. Should we start at the front and
Yeah,
we'll
go
work
for it,
our
yeah.
way back? So, obviously, the hatches at the front here.
Yeah, just bog standard waterproof hatch does the job. Like in here at the moment, it's pretty simple. I usually just run a spare paddle in here.
Oh, yes.
Often in my vids you'll see it
Yep.
chucked up under
Up
these
on the front there.
bungees.
Yep.
Just peace of mind there. Like you are going a long way. The paddle is literally your only form of propulsion. So without the paddle, you're kind of buggered, eh?
Yep, 100%. Cool. I mean, obviously, another 3 Railblazer ports in here, mate. You know, what's
Yep.
that? More rod holders? What's the go?
So it's more so filming.
Yep.
A lot of my Railblazer stuff is used for filming. Just the camera boom that I've
Yeah,
got
of course,
just
of
drops
course.
in and out. Like you guys will see angles from all over the kayak. What you don't see is me pulling out from each one of these ports, dropping the pole in around the boat.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just simply to get angles. Like I run a rod holder in this one. That's sort of the only extra rod holder I've got in
Sure.
the boat. Just
Yep.
up there, just leadering fish, drop it in front.
Yeah,
Pretty
makes sense.
simple.
Makes sense. Obviously, your sounder, got a couple of connection ports here, which I see you've waterproofed, which is absolutely brilliant. This is a pretty sweet little case. What's the go with that?
The case.
Yeah.
So a mate of mine built that for me. I won't say his name because he'll get too many emails, but no, mate, it's a great bit of kit. Bit of a lifesaver, really. So it's just clear plastic.
Cool.
Really sturdy. Gives you a bit of sun protection, so you get that glare on the screen.
Yeah,
You can see
absolutely.
through it, and a lifesaver in the surf, man.
Matt's mate, legend. This is bloody awesome. Cool. And your sounder, what are you running there at the moment?
Yeah, so Garmin Striker 4.
Yep.
Had this little unit for quite a while now. Obviously it's a pretty basic little setup, like bog standard, does what it needs to do, could do more, could do less, but for the price point, I mean, it's been an awesome little unit, fully waterproof.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I've probably maxed it out a few times, like I've had it up to 120 meters, still reading the bottom.
That's heaps, eh?
They rate it to, I think, 100 meters, and it's
Yeah,
gone as deep as I can go, so
that's
does the
awesome.
job.
That's awesome. And pretty wicked as well that you can just take that off at the end of your session and chuck it in the van, and you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
there's no safety, no issues with safety
Yeah.
with it sitting on top of the roof, you know. So.
I mean, being that it is a reload, obviously I can't fit the pod inside the van, but
Yeah.
with this kayak, like if you've got a standard sort of a ute, you can just drop the whole pod out.
Stop it.
Yeah, so that's all your tackle, all your gear for the day. If you wanted to rig it up in the garage the night before, you could, but
Yeah.
don't have the luxury of a garage in the van, unfortunately.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so inside the old pod, have you got any little tips and tricks in there, mate? Any little secret weapons?
Too much tackle.
Too much tackle?
There's the short answer, yeah. So I think I'm running 3 boxes in there at the moment.
Yeah. And assume those are all waterproof jobbies as well, just
Yeah,
for being
just-
out in the yak.
Bog standard waterproof trays. I've tried non-waterproof and mate, it doesn't last long, eh?
Yeah.
You do 2 trips and you can kiss all your tackle goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I see some wiring in there. Is that from your sounder or what's?
yeah, just running the battery in there. Just
Okay.
a little waterproof lithium. I think it's a 7 amp hour battery.
Oh, perfect. And then again, you can just take that in and out of the boat the whole time.
Yeah,
So
too easy.
that's mint. Got some ropes on the side.
Yeah, so running rig. I do get a few questions about this.
Okay.
It's basically a continuous loop that runs bow to stern of the kayak
Oh yeah, I
on a
see.
pulley system.
Got a pulleys at the front and back there.
Yeah,
Yep.
so if you're anchoring or you're running a sea anchor like a drift chute,
Yep.
you clip it on here, and then you can actually maneuver the boat to position the bow. You know,
Yeah.
in
whatever way you
relation
need
to
to.
the wind.
For sure.
Like usually I'll be running the sea anchor off the stern of the kayak, and
Yep.
obviously you can't reach back all the way back here to grab it when you want
For
to
sure.
retrieve it. So
Yep.
just run this rope up and down.
Yeah,
Makes it
nice.
and easy.
Makes things super simple. The old seats, more hatches.
Yep. So this is actually a sort of a luxury item from Viking. It's the hurricane seat. So it's sort of like a fixed kayak seat, not like the typical ones you see that clip
Yep.
in. This one's actually built into the kayak. So
Yep.
up and down, you got adjustment. It's more like an office chair.
Yep.
Makes the kayak a lot more comfortable.
100%. Yeah, I remember having a bit of a ring around in a little kayak that I've had, and I had just one of those, push-in seats, and jeepers, after about half an hour, the old hips are sore and the back
Yeah.
sore. So this is definitely a bit of an upgrade.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I would say it's a lifesaver, to be honest.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And more rod holders at the back and more rail blazers.
Yep. Same thing again. Rod holders kind of speak for themselves. So you
Yep.
put your rods in them.
Yep.
They do their job.
Yep.
Railblazer, yeah. All of the rear camera angles you see, that's just these ports back here.
Yep.
Back here. This one's a nightmare to get the pole into. It feels like I'm gonna pop my shoulder out every time I reach around and get the camera in this one. But
Yep.
mate, it gets an awesome shot. So
Oh,
the
100%.
viewers seem to like it, so I keep doing it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And so how many, obviously you got 4 rod holders at the back here, 2 on the side, plus these other rail blazers. How many rods do you normally run at a time?
So I never put more than 2 lines in the water at once.
Sure.
And usually on a trip it'll be 2 or 3 rods in the boat.
Yep.
These are sort of my primary ones. They seem to cover almost every situation. Obviously, like if you're thinking there's going to be kingfish on topwater, you might want to bring a topwater rod, or
Yep.
It just depends on the situation. But for like, if you were going to say what rods you're going to bring 90% of the time, it'll be these 3.
Nice. And obviously a chill pod, keep your catch nice and cold.
Yep.
Speaks
yeah.
for itself, really.
Yep,
I mean,
really
there's
does.
heaps of room in here, like far out. I've seen photos of bloody kingies and everything
Yep. Yeah.
floating through there. So
To be fair, it could be a little bit longer for the kingfish.
Yeah.
But typically it does the job. Yeah.
Yep. And then obviously your keel at the back,
Yeah, just standard
rudder.
rudder.
standard rudder. Yep.
Well, it's actually not really that standard. It's standard for Viking, but most kayaks would have an uphaul cord with a rudder blade that's a lot higher aspect that runs
Yes.
down a bit.
Yep.
This one's actually flush with the bottom of your kayak and no uphaul cord. It's on a bungee, so
Oh,
it
yep.
lifts up. Say you hit a rock or you went over a mussel line or
Yep.
something, and the line snags it. This just kicks up and everything comes out the way and it drops back down afterwards.
Yep.
Makes it real easy in the surf.
Yeah, I was
Worried
just gonna
about-
say, like coming back into land, you know.
Yeah, because
That'd be
a
good.
lot of people have to pull their rudder up before they come in for a surf landing.
Yep.
But in the surf is when you need the rudder the most.
For
Like,
sure.
You need that control.
Yep.
So it's a pretty good setup there.
Yeah, mint. So, what does this thing weigh, man?
So hull weight empty with the tackle pod out, the chill pod out. The reload's coming in at 27 kilo now.
Oh, yep.
So it's feather light, to be
Yeah,
honest.
heck yeah. I mean, for something this size, that's incredible.
Yeah, they've come a long way into the last 15 years.
Yep.
I think if you looked back to 2015 models, they were sitting at around, I want to say 35 kilos. I
Yep.
might be wrong about that. Don't quote me, but
Yep.
they have got a lot lighter.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Happy days. And obviously, one of the important parts of kit, the wheels.
Yeah, the wheels. I can take the kayak off and show you a bit more in depth, but they're actually the Sea-Tug Caterpillar tracks.
Yep.
So they're not really even a wheel at this point.
And brought in by the same people that do Railblazer, is that correct? Or am I
Yeah.
just like talking out of turn here?
No, Railblazer makes them, yeah. So the wheel's actually sort of a double-lined bit of rubber here. So
Yeah, okay.
you've got like a rigid internal wall,
Yeah, right.
and then it pretty much flattens out and works like a caterpillar track on, say, a tank or a bit of machinery.
Yeah, nice.
And that just spreads the load over the sand, so
Yep.
your wheels don't sink in the sand on those,
Yep.
you know, long beaches.
Yeah, makes sense. And, you know, what do you do with it when you've taken your kayak down to the beach? Do you put it away? Is it like put up the front, or is it just back to the van?
So I can either, you have a few options. If the walk back to the van is really long and I can't be bothered, which
Yep.
is a lot of the time, it breaks down and you can fit it inside that front hatch.
Wow.
The other thing I'll do is I'll carry a bike lock.
Yep.
And I'll take the kayak off, I'll grab the wheels, I'll run up into the bush somewhere.
Yeah.
And lock it up to a pahudakawa tree or something.
Yeah.
And then it's sweet as for the day.
Yeah, happy days.
Don't have to worry about it.
Nice.
Yeah, so pretty easy there.
Sweet. Oh, well, cheers, Matt. Let's, we'll get this thing away and we'll get back and have a sit down and have a bit more of a yarn, eh?
Yeah, sweet as.
Awesome. I mean, you take this thing a long way offshore sometimes. You obviously need the confidence to do that first and foremost, but you'll need some safety gear as well. So what safety gear do you consider essential during any kayaking trip?
So there's two things I always have on board, and that's cell phone.
Yep.
And a waterproof case. So I've got
Yep.
a life-proof case on mine.
Nice.
Obviously that's good until it gets wet.
Yep.
You'll learn pretty quickly. If you've got wet hands or wet fingers, which is pretty much all the time in a kayak,
Yep.
it's not good for much. So then the backup from that is a personal locator beacon.
100%.
I think I also carry a VHF for the offshore trips, but the two that I will always have is that PLB and the cell phone.
Yeah, and that PLB is like, they've some pretty cool clips now, and they just clip straight to your life jacket. Hey, I see that in a few of your clips, so.
Yeah, just drop. I have a little pocket in my life jacket, so
Yeah.
anything goes wrong, you know, you have that lifeline back to
Yep.
to society. You know,
Yep.
wherever you are, if you don't have cell reception, no VHF reception,
Yep.
a lot of times that's the only thing that's gonna save you, and it's just a good peace of mind.
Yeah, nice. What about, like, I mean, obviously you do quite a lot of kayaking during the winter time. You're an all year round fisher, which is awesome. I love it. Any tips for, you know, people wanting to get out during winter?
Warm clothes.
Warm clothes?
The biggest one for me is have something on your feet.
Yeah, right.
Especially if you're launching early in the morning. It's sort of the last thing you think of, but I learned it the hard way back when I got into it. If you launch, say, 5 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
get in the kayak and it's all good, you get 20 minutes into paddling and you get that breeze evaporating water off your feet.
Yeah.
Man, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal. Like, you'll just be screaming.
Yeah.
It's so cold, yeah. So just something on your feet. I've been known to wear, to jump in the kayak, dry my feet off, and put woolen socks over.
Yeah, fair.
Like, wetsuit booties are the best, but
Yep.
if you can't do that, just something, man.
Yeah, something. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, is that like, do you wear like a wetsuit as well, or wetsuit pants, or has it got, like, kind of seen you with some waterproof pants over the top sometimes?
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of the wetsuits. They are a really good option if you are doing surf launches,
Yep.
especially in the winter. But for me, a lot of time in the winter, I kind of chicken out of the surf launches and keep it dry. So
That's fair.
I like to run dry pants. So I have some Gill, I think they're pilot trousers.
Yep.
But they're just sort of like your bog standard breathable waterproof pants.
Yeah, nice.
And usually a base layer of some sort of thermals, like
Yep.
merino leggings, merino long sleeve, and then obviously the Edge UV shirt
Yep.
is always over the top. And if I need another layer, it'll be either a sort of like a crew neck hoodie style thing, something that dries fast, or a spray jacket.
Yeah, awesome. Righto. Question 6, mate. We're gonna have to ask it. We saw your viral video with the great white shark. I mean, it was shared across multiple news outlets throughout the world. I see you've done interviews with the UK, US, Aussie. I tried to jump onto YouTube the other day and just find the total number of views. It was over like 10 million. It was absolutely crazy. So have you had any other insane kayak experience where you've had to keep you cool? I mean, that was one of the cool things about that video. You were just so calm. Well, you seemed to be so calm that entire time. Have you had any other experiences like that?
I've had a lot of experiences with sharks,
Yep.
a lot of experiences, but I've never had one that sort of made me sort of go, okay, this could go south pretty quickly here.
Yep.
Like I've been I've been caught out with weather a couple of times where I'm like, oh, this is getting a bit marginal.
Yeah.
And you do get a bit concerned, but mate, I've never had that sort of drop in my stomach, stone in my throat sort of feeling as I did when that shark popped up.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and just for it to go on for so long, it was nuts.
Yeah.
I remember having a chat to you a couple of days afterwards, and we're just it was pretty incredible.
Yeah, that 8 minutes felt like a lifetime. Eh?
I bet. And how was it dealing with all these, I guess, media outlets overseas?
Oh mate, if I can give you any advice, if you ever go viral, make sure your phone number is really secure.
Yeah.
Make sure your email address is really secure, and like when you go to bed, make sure your phone's on airplane mode.
Yeah, right.
Have it on silent and on airplane mode because it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it was 7 days straight where every 10 minutes I had a news media outlet emailing me.
Wow.
It's the most hectic week of my life.
Yeah, I bet. It's pretty awesome, mate, and I guess, from all the content that you've produced over the years, you're so deserving of it. It's been so good, and just the level and quality has just increased phenomenally, over the years from, I guess, when you first started. So to have something like that happen is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
and wish you the best.
That shark was a blessing in disguise, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Righto, so you got a bunch of YouTube videos, and the amount of epic fish that you've caught over the years is just absolutely phenomenal. Most people will be jealous just to catch one of them, and you've caught multiple. Have you got one or two standouts? Tell us about it, mate.
Yeah, so I think the biggest standout off the kayak would be probably two fish. There'd be the first 20 pounder I got off the kayak.
Yep.
That was before I had cameras or anything. It was quite a while back. I might still have a photo of it.
Yeah, whereabouts was that?
That was up in my hometown. I was still in school.
Yep.
Might have actually bunked that day at school. The weather was so good that day. It was like a 4 a.m. start, paddled out in the dark, got to the spot as the sun sort of kissed up on the horizon, and mate, it was just a huge straight line kahawai head, and it's like a 25 pounder.
Wicked.
Yeah, released that one. I was pretty stoked with that. Then the second one would have been the first kingy over 20 kilo.
Yep.
The clip of that, I kind of lose my mind when I get it on board.
Yeah.
I'd just been looking for that fish for so long, and to finally do it off the kayak was something kind of special.
Yeah, absolutely. And was that a Northland fish, or was that a little bit further south and east?
It was more Coromandel ways.
Yeah, okay.
The fishing there is pretty good. It's a very hard fishery actually. On average, I probably do like 7 or 8 days straight on the water there between kingfish. They're hard to find there.
Yeah.
I just don't know the fishery that well.
Yeah.
There's probably people screaming at me in the comments.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you do find them there, they're usually pretty good. They're usually big.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And livey?
Live kahawai.
Yeah. Nice. And just recently, I think it was earlier this year, you got that absolute massive kingfish, which would have ticked another pretty big box for you.
Yeah.
I think that was pushing that 30 kilo sort of mark.
Yeah. I called it for 30 kilo. Looking back on it, I'm still not 100% sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, mate, it swum away, right? So
yeah, exactly.
You're never going to be able to weigh it, but it's going to be very, very close.
Yeah,
if it's not.
I think the measurement was 132.
Yeah, mate, over 130. And it was a fat fish too. Yeah. It was a chunky fish. It's going to be definitely pushing that 30 kilo. But is there something else you're chasing? Maybe like the holy grail of fish for kayak fishing, you reckon?
I mean, there's a lot of species that I want to catch from the kayak.
Yep.
I think one that's always really got me excited would be a big yellowfin.
Yep.
I saw Greg Potter. He managed to do it last season.
Nice.
But that's something that's always excited me. Obviously, the marlin would be a bit of a dream.
Yeah.
Like those fish they're sort of on another level.
For sure.
You're taking kayak fishing and you're turning it into an extreme sport at that point.
Yeah, for sure. It's a long way offshore normally, right, for those. So.
Yeah. But the adrenaline, I just know the adrenaline of hooking into a fish like that. Like seeing a marlin go airborne in front of a kayak, man, it would be so cool.
Yeah. It'd be something pretty special, all right, mate.
Yeah.
Maybe, what are we now? We're in May, so it might be a little bit late, but, coming into next summer, you just never know. Well, I know a few people that have caught marlin in the middle of May and even late May, so you're still going to be opportunities, but certainly maybe a crack out for next year.
Yeah.
we've got some quick fire questions just to wrap this up for you. I'll let you get back on the water soon. It's a beautiful day here in the Bay of Plenty. So we've got a few viewer questions. So if your name is called out now, we'll put your caption. I will overlay that in the video. But for the first one here from @She and Sharma. Oh, this is a great question. Thank you for asking this one. When is Team Burnsco cutting off your mop?
Oh, mate, the hair's been growing too long, eh? It is getting a bit ugly. To be honest, I haven't actually cut it since I left school. But oh, mate, I'll do you a deal. If you can drop me at Mare Island,
Yep.
and put me onto a 40-kilo kingfish, I will let you cut it there and then.
Okay. Well, I can definitely do the first one. I can definitely do the first bit, and we'll see how we go with the 40-kilo one.
Yep.
But potentially might even drop you a little bit further out for a bluefin.
Oh, yep, that would work.
That'll work too?
Mate.
No, we'll see how we get on. Second question. So well done, She and Sharma. Second question, Peyton Fishing Waiheke. Why do you prefer kayak fishing over any other form of fishing?
So this is going to be a long answer, but I think that kayak fishing, there's two sides of it. There's the side where you probably, in my opinion, this is very debatable, but I think when it comes to shallow water fishing, you catch bigger fish from the kayak. There's a real argument for the stealth factor, but to be honest, the reason I'm really into the kayak is, and I prefer it over everything else, is the connection you get with the fish. So when you catch a fish off a kayak, you didn't just catch a fish, you earned a fish. You paddled there from the start of the trip to the moment that you get that fish. You have done everything yourself. It's your own energy, your own steam, and that makes a fish more rewarding. And then there's the fact that when you hook into a fish, or even when you're just fishing, you're almost connected with your surroundings. Like every movement of water, every wave, every bite, every cast, you feel the whole thing through the hull, through the hull of the kayak. I mean, you're only, 3 inches off the water the whole time.
Sure.
So everything you do is a connection with your surroundings, and it makes every connection, every capture just so special.
Yeah, it's fantastic, mate. That's awesome. Well done, Peyton Fishing Waiheke. Great answer, great question. Next question here from @WiseFXX. This is a bit of a long one. I've done a few trips out with the group. I found but still often tense up when there's some chop or uneven swell. Have you got any tips for something to help with that feeling of unease, as tensing up when it comes on makes things worse?
Right, so I get the feeling that he's just a little bit uncomfortable with that rougher weather.
Yep.
So I think the main thing when it comes to rough water in a kayak is having confidence. So first thing is have confidence in your forecast. So like if you're reading a forecast and you think it's forecast to get too rough, don't go out.
Yep.
That's the first thing. But if it's forecast to get up to say 10 knots and you know that that's within your capabilities, but you're still getting a little bit nervous about that water, what I always like to do is have a game plan. Like if I know the wind is going to get up, but it's within a manageable amount, say 10 knots, I can go, okay, sweet, I can manage that. But I always have in the back of my head, like, hey, if this wind gets up more than it was forecast to, say, it's going to get up to 20 knots, I always have a plan B. So I'll know that, hey, instead of landing where I launched, there's another beach I can land on that's, that's like half the distance, really close by me. I'll land there and I'll work it out from there.
Yeah.
Just always having that sort of that backdoor escape.
Yeah.
Having a plan for when stuff does go wrong, you can get out of it.
Yeah.
It's preparation really.
Yeah. 100%.
Preparation and confidence. So don't go out if you're not comfortable in it. And if you think you're going to be all good, just have a plan B.
Yep. No, it makes total sense, just that safety aspect, just make sure you're always safe on the water, and, this thing is replaceable, but you aren't, so.
Exactly, yeah.
Just having that is good.
Goes back to those forms of communication,
Yep.
It all helps with your confidence, but at the end of the day, if it's too rough, it's too rough.
Yep. Makes sense. Righto, we've got Cody Muller 37. Let me just find your comment here. Hey Matt, what do you think of your Garmin Striker? Looking to upgrade to one? Also, what's your favourite all-time soft bait? So it's a bit of a double banger on that one, Matt.
Right, so Garmin Striker 4. To be quite frank with you, it's the only sounder I've ever owned, and
Well, it's awesome then.
yeah, it's awesome. Like I've run through 2 of them now. The first one I think I ran it for 3.5 years before I finally killed it, and the only reason I killed it was I may or may not have knocked it off in the surf and sunk it to the bottom of the ocean.
You may or may not have caught that on video as well.
Yeah, may or may not have. And then yeah, I mean, like I've had it for such a long time, and it's never been a hindrance. Like I've never thought, oh man, I wish I could read the bottom better here, or oh, I can't quite see that bait school. Like because it's got that built-in GPS track, you can still figure out where you're drifting, where your marks are, all of that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So like for the price point, I think, what are they, 350 new?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ridiculously good unit.
Fair.
Yeah.
Nice. And favourite soft bait?
Favorite soft bait? That is a hard one.
All time, even if it was an older discontinued one.
All time. So for the longest time, I could say quite definitively, it would be the 6-inch Z-Man paddle tail in the electric chicken color.
Right.
So that was for a very long time, but recently, as I'm sure a lot of you know, Crush City has come onto the New Zealand market, and they've got...
It's Rapala.
Yeah, Rapala.
Yep.
Rapala soft baits. They've got one that rivals it, which would be the probably I think it's a 5.5-inch paddle tail in the Red Dog.
Yep.
So all-time favorite soft bait is a toss-up between Z-Man Electric Chicken and Crush City Red Dog.
So the electric chicken, remind me, if hopefully I'm right here, that was sort of a bright pink with like a yellow belly?
No, it was sort of a bright milky pink colour.
Gotcha, yeah.
And a semi-transparent sort of chartreuse green.
Yeah,
with a little bit of fleck in it.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is, like doesn't look like any sort of bait fish I've ever seen, but mate, it works.
Works, well that's all that matters, right? Righto, Miles_Sutton. Actually, I want to ask this question too, but he gets the prize. Just wanted to know how you clean and wash down your kayak after use.
Right, I get this question a lot. So it kind of ties into another question I get is, what's the black pipe on my roof?
Sure.
So I've got a black pipe slung underneath my roof racks on the van.
I did see that up there.
Yeah, that is filled with water. So it's actually a solar shower.
Oh, okay.
In all honesty, before I clean myself, I clean my gear. So the solar shower gets used to wash down all of my rods and my kayaks and my electronics after every use. So yeah, that's what that pipe is. It's 20, I think it's 20 litres of water.
Yep.
And it just has like a shower fitting on it.
Nice.
At gravity fed, and that's what washes down on my gear. I'm pretty pedantic about it, to be honest. Like before I go on a trip, I always make sure that pipe's full and clean all the gear down. And then also use a bit of that CRC tackle guard on the reels after they dry off from the fresh water.
Nice.
Yeah, that's always sort of the priority.
There you go. Miles Sutton, now you know. Righto, Martin O'Brien Weekend Woodwork. Jeepers, that's a long name. Right, Viking Reload or Viking 400?
So for me,
yes,
it's an easy answer. That's the Viking Reload.
Yep.
But that is because I do a lot of long paddles,
yes,
a lot of offshore stuff, and a lot of stuff where there's a bit of chop. So the Reload's a bit longer, a little bit faster, and for me, it's worth that trade-off. The advantage to the 400 is it's a lot more maneuverable.
Yep.
So for me, it's the Reload, but for someone who wants to fish a lot of like wash fishing, like where you're close into the coastline and you want something a bit more maneuverable, it'd probably be the 400, if I'm being honest. Like I've paddled both. Yeah, for me it's the Reload. Simple as that.
Fair. And lastly, again, this is a Josh question. Away from the fishing, what's your favourite place to travel to? Van life.
Favourite place to travel to?
Yeah.
Far out, that is a hard question.
I know.
I'm going to be a douchebag here
Okay.
and answer it the best way I can.
Good on you.
My favourite place to travel to in New Zealand
Yep.
is the place where the fish are biting.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
So you answered but not answered.
Yep.
Excellent. Nah, happy days, Matt. Hey, thanks so much for your time today. We'll let you get out. Like, the weather is just stunning. I'm pretty sure Matt's going to go for a fish. I really want to go for a fish, so we'll see what happens later on. Should be a good bite over the next week or so as well, with the moon change. And obviously the winners, they'll be up on the screen there. So fire us through a DM, and we'll get those prizes organised to you. Well done for everyone. You've won some kit from Edge Fishing, and that's us. We'll wrap it up. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe to Matt's YouTube. We're going to put that up on the link right about here, and also to our one as well. Follow us on social media across all of our channels. Cheers, guys. See you next
cheers
time.
for having me, Josh.
All good.
Appreciate it.